All right. Hi, Kate.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining me today. Why don't we just get started with you telling us a little bit about you and your business and what do you do, all those good things.
Sure. So I've been doing photography professionally sort of as a side thing for about 3 years as a school photographer.
Oh,
And going into the pandemic, I was sort of planning already before all this stuff happened to transition into film. I've been doing film for my personal work a lot, but also just wanting to sort of shift gears. Schools are a lot and they're different with my lifestyle fit. So as I was coming into this and just before and also during the Six Figure Studio, have made the transition to become to really focus on studio work and film work as well. Normally it was just going to be digital, but I've made the choice to just really dig in and go for it with film.
oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it. I love shooting film.
Already.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And where is your business? Where are you based
It's
out
in
of?
Toronto. Sorry, so I'm right in Toronto, city proper,
So
Canada.
that's probably a pretty competitive market, I would imagine.
It is, and that's the other thing is like everywhere you turn, there's a lot of photographers and a lot of people doing a lot of the same thing, which is fine. I found that with schools too, that it's sort of taking off and people are doing that. But if you make yourself different, I mean, I think you say it a lot anyway. There's room for everybody. I think if
Oh,
you
yeah.
if you do the work,
If you know what you do, right?
yeah,
Well,
and you know what you do.
that's actually the
you're
perfect
you're on who,
segue.
yeah, exactly.
That's a perfect segue. So let's get into it. So you were a part of my first ever cohort of the Six Figure Studio, the maiden launch, right, of the program. So I would love to know, like, how did you find the program? Like, how did you come across the program? And then what was it, given the timing that it launched? Because what people should know who are listening is that first launch was right in the middle, like hardcore quarantine when like everything was shut down, right? So what was it that made you decide that, yeah, this is the right program for you, especially given that time and what was happening?
Sure. So I found it because I know your courses already. And I found you again through wanting to learn film and wanting to learn lighting. And I think I was already primed sort of starting in January, end of last year for a shift. So I think I was sort of already ready, kind of, but it was fertile there. But I think when your course came up, I was like, oh my God, I could work with you one-on-one. And at first I didn't think I was ready because I was like, well, I want to start a brand new business. I'm not ready to go six figures and I'm not ready at all. What if it should be next year if this had been offered, next year? And then I just kind of like went to sleep on it and woke up the next day and it was still in my gut that I was like, I have to do this thing because I think I'm ready. And I think being in the pandemic, kind of like part of it was you're kind of thinking about big decisions anyway. And like I couldn't work and I wasn't working and I was thinking a lot about what I wanted to do anyway. I think for a lot of us, maybe, but personally it was like a really defining time of like, what I want. This is like totally like, I don't have to do anything. All those have tos, like I didn't have to go to my job. I didn't have to run around. I didn't have to do school photography. I didn't have to do all these things that maybe I felt like I had to do and I kept pushing my real goals aside. And then, so I think it was just like, it was a good fit. And then, yeah, I just thought, go for it.
I love that.
Let's
And
do it. Let's do
and
it. And
I love that what you
the
said
shiny,
too about
yeah.
like realizing that like you don't have to. I talk, as you know, I talk a lot about how we all get caught up in doing what we think we should do. And so oftentimes that should and feeling like this is what we should be doing takes over and we never get around to doing what we do. And it's that figuring out what makes you different, what makes you special, like what your unique calling is that really allows you to go to the next level in your business. And so this like getting stuck in the should and the have tos, it's feels like it's the right thing to do, but really it's a form of self-sabotage.
Oh, totally. And I'm so guilty for it. So I
Oh,
think
we
like
all are.
the course was sort of like, okay, someone's going to push me, I'm not going to have to try and discipline myself or do this alone. Like at the end of 3 months, if she's all this stuff that's going to be in it and what you were saying was going to be offered, it's like at the end of the 3 months, I could have something really tangible to hold on to. Yeah.
All right, well then let's talk about that. So you went into it saying like, okay, she's promising 3 months.
Yeah.
Because like if you do the work week by week, you get through it in 3 months. It's for real. So that was your expectation. Like she's promising I can do this. I'm going to go for it and see what happens at the end of 3 months. So now that you are beyond 3 months, like
Yeah.
3 months and beyond, did it meet your expectations? Did you get out of it what you wanted?
Absolutely. And I think almost to like it exceeded in the sense that I ended up in sort of a different spot than I thought I would. Like it's easy enough to say like, oh, 3 months, I'm going to do this plan that I thought I'd have. And I think through actually sitting with the work and having the time to sit through the work really intensely, because like I'd carry around the lessons for a while and I'd do the assignments and then I'd come back to it. And, you know, even like the portfolio review and the website, like I had a website after not even the 3 months. It was done in like weeks, which was crazy. But it was also super intimidating to send you my work. But it was like, okay, I'm sharing something new with someone that I'm sort of just exploring. And, you know, that was like, I was a nervous wreck for about a week. But like once it was done, it was like I felt like this thing had lifted. I mean, it was a big deal. Yeah, it was really
It's so helpful to have
it
other
was
people like your
so
stuff.
clarifying of just having someone to look at it and say, okay, this is okay. Like this is like a thumbs up and it's like, okay, I'm in the right direction. I'm not crazy for what I'm trying to do. And yeah, it was a real big confidence boost, which sort of, again, the way you built the course, but it built on everything so that then I was ready for the next step and ready for the next. So yeah.
That's why I love it. So I'm just going to point out, because you froze up for just a second when you were saying it exceeded your expectations. Like, you know, you're like, that's important.
Yeah.
That's good to know. But I mean, that just makes me so happy because it was, you know, when I launched it with you guys, it was a new thing for me too. And as I've told you, it's like the reason I even built this course was because I saw what was happening in the pandemic, and it had been something that had been on my mind to do for years. But I saw the need right now that I could go in with my 20 plus years experience and really help people get through this hard time, and not only help people get through it, but to come out on the other end better. And so to hear that, yes, indeed, that was your experience and you found it really helpful and it exceeds your expectations makes me super happy as a course creator, but also as a mentor and a coach. As you know, I get very involved and I'm very hands-on with everybody. And it's been really fun to watch your progress. And to your point, I mean, it is scary when you send your website off to somebody or you send your portfolio off to somebody, but it can only help you.
Yeah.
To have those eyes on it, right?
Yeah. And it was like, yeah, it was actually honestly like really a big shift for me. And even like being in the Facebook group, I'm not a Facebook person where I involved myself in groups, and I decided like, nope, you're going to go all in with this course and you're going to like show up, you know. I'm more of an introvert by nature, to be honest. And, you know, but like, I was like, no, you're going to answer the questions every week. And I think, you know, I really learned that I got more out of it because I did that.
Well, that's like, that's part of the great thing about group coaching too, is like you get out of it what you put into it. Right. So you can go through and you can do the course and you're going to get results, but the more you interact, the more you lean on the other people in the group, then it just like takes what you're already learning and amplifies it because you have other people that are working on the same thing. So it's not like a random free Facebook group where it's like, it's very like specific, which is great. And I think, you know, it's been fun to watch you guys in that group. You have a good group. So did you have any reservations before? I know you said that you slept on it, but was there anything that was like, oh, I don't know if this is for me, or?
Yeah, it was more like, again, that personal thing, like maybe I'm not ready. And I think, you know, I know you've always said, you know, even through the course, like 6-figure studio, it's not that you're going to jump in and the beauty of it after going through it was I am in the process of building a business that like I want. And, you know, 6 figures. Yeah, but I don't have to be there now. And I love that we were all in sort of different places. And so, but that was my reservation. It was like, I'm not ready. I'm going to be I'm going to be the person's not ready. Like, you're not supposed to be starting a business going in a course like this, but I had a business experience. It was just, I needed to put all the pieces together. And so that was probably my biggest reservation. The money sort of, but not really. I I actually thought, even before I went into it, I thought it was decently priced. I thought it was a steal a bit. So even with my Canadian exchange, but I didn't think that that was a barrier. I think it was just more me. I was like, am I ready for this? That was it.
Well, I'm actually so glad you said that, because I think a lot of people have that reservation. And I actually even thought about that when I named it Six Figure Studio. And I like that name because like that's what I built, was a six figure studio. But I didn't want people to think that A, you had to have a studio, or B, you had to be on track to do six figures. It's about giving you the framework to craft whatever you want. And if that is a six figure photography business, I guarantee you, but that going through these processes over the long run is going to get you there. But if not, that's okay too. It really is. And as you know, I'm not interested in creating a bunch of little, Sandra Cohn minions. I want you to create your perfect business for you, and give you, to give you the tools to do that is really my intention behind it. But I also love that you said that, you were worried about coming in as somebody starting something new, because I think that's the perfect. I mean, we had people in there who'd been in business for 16 years and were very successful. And we had people in that group that were just starting, and everybody got something out of it. But I do think like you really set yourself up to fast track your success.
Yeah, totally.
So you're not wasting a bunch of time.
No. And even now, like, I'm going into studio next week, and I've got ideas, and, going through like the whole, like your CPR process of, having a plan when you go, like, it's just brilliant. Cause now I just feel like I've just saved myself so much learning time. Like I still have to work it out and put it into practice myself, and I'm seeing it. But every time I do it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And even picking products and pricing, it's like, yeah, like just going through the work. Like I know I wouldn't have been here if I tried to do it myself. And I'm a big DIYer. Like I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I can figure it out. But I knew like, there's no way that I would have been where I'm at. Even with the clarity of mind, I would have still been like questioning myself.
Well, that's the thing. It's like photographers, we are very DIY people, right? Like we like to do that. And sometimes you can just DIY yourself into a hole because you won't get where you need to go. And, and I even thought about that because in the webinar, I tell people like, this is the structure. This is the exact framework that we're going to get into inside the course. And I know there are some people that were like, well, I have the framework, I'll just DIY it. And, right. Like, so I saw you shake your head. What would you say to that?
Again, for the same things, like, I think there's the accountability for sure. I think having other people going through it step by step at the same point as you, because again, you didn't just like drop everything into the course and then we could learn at our own pace. Like the idea and the expectation was to be going through it together, and then we would have those weekly calls. And the calls were great. Like I looked forward to those, and I really missed those, but like they really gave you that energy, like to just connect with people. Like, again, I don't feel like, it's like a different experience. I just feel like I would have, it wasn't that kind of thing. Like I wouldn't have, you need those other things too. I think now that I've gone through it, like I've really the value of having other people and just, just doing that work in real time together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's huge. And being able just to check in on the calls and get clarity and, ask your questions in real time. And that stuff is so important. Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Like I'm looking at my notes because I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So, okay, I have two more questions for you. Sure. So what was your biggest takeaway from the core? Okay, biggest takeaway. And then what would you say to somebody who was considering it but had reservations?
Sure. Okay. Okay. I've got like the two biggest things, but
that's fine. You can.
I'll do the two, but I feel like they go together. So like, the clarity piece was really big for me, like getting really clear. And I think, okay, so let's just focus there. So and I think you reinforced this with all these calls when we would have questions or we would say, well, what do you do? Like you just said, like, and we sort of touched on it, like, you get to build your business the way you want it to be. And also this idea of having like your ideal client. And I know that gets tossed around a lot, but I like really have a person in my brain now of like who I'm always talking to and who I'm looking to attract. And I feel like, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I just feel like I'm really clear on what I'm doing now as a photographer, where I'm not, again, I feel like I guess less a little bit. Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
great though, right? Like
Yeah. I'm
taking
making
the
really
guesswork
intentional
out.
choices. Yeah. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And what was your second one? You said,
Well, yeah, I guess it went with the systems, right? So like we
Mhm.
talk about, I talked about the CPR, like having a really clear, like it doesn't have to be complicated. And like I get overwhelmed with lots of things anyway. Like I like to focus in on things. So it was really great. Like have a system when you do your sales, have a system when you know, set up your shoot. Like when you walk in, you know what you're going to do. And I think being clear on who you are and what you're doing kind of really helped inform like the clarity of like the system too. Like they kind of just work together. So again, I guess it's all clarity, but that system of just like the ease of putting something into place and letting it run. It doesn't have to be crazy complicated. And
no,
you know,
and
that's
that's
the beauty of it.
about it too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's actually a really simple system.
Yeah.
And it's built to make things simple. It doesn't necessarily mean it's easy,
No.
but it is it is simple. And then once you put it into play, and then it's just like anything, the more you exercise it, the stronger those muscles are going to get, and it becomes just like second nature. And that's why I love it too, is because like I said, this is the system I put together for myself, right? To take me from where I was ready to quit to where I am now. And so I know it works.
Yeah.
And it's so fun watching you guys now go and put it into place and getting results, you know, right away.
And like you said, there are results that like, you know, they're that are built for us. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
results
like,
are maybe different.
yeah,
Like you still get the results, but it's
yeah, but it's specific for
it's
you and
you.
your business and your needs and your market and your clients. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that. So, okay, so what piece of advice would you give somebody who was considering, but maybe thinking like you were, that they're not ready or it's not for them?
Um, hmm. Again, I think it's just like I don't want to just say do it, but like I just really take the plunge, and I think it's just like I don't know. There's such value in. I guess what I would do is say, look at where you're at now and where you want to go, and you know, just only imagine what that could look like if you had that support. Like I just feel again like I just wouldn't have been able to do that in three months by myself. So I guess I don't know how to say it as advice, but just you know just do it. If you think that there's any little piece of value to it, I mean, I can't see how it couldn't help somebody's business really. Seeing people with experience like I did and seeing, you know, that I've been doing it for years and they had aha moments the same way that I had aha moments. Like we just all built a better, stronger business that I just feel like it is a huge investment, but it's a great, like a huge investment in terms of like value. Like it was a game changer. So I mean, if you're at all hesitant, you know, I mean, think about where you could be in 3 months, you know, with that support of all those things and all those pieces, or, you know, what do you think it would look like if you were just kind of continuing as you are, the way you are now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I think that's great. Like, I think there's nothing else to add. We'll just end there. So,
Okay.
Kate, thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it. And I know that your words are going to help somebody else and help them, you know, fast track their business success as well. So thank you for being with us.
Well, thanks. Bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.